I think you have audio now.
Let's see. I guess we will hear in a moment.
As soon as it passes through the YouTubes.
Yeah.
So all I did was in your system settings.
That does seem to have a...
Yes, well.
Aha! Okay, yes, we have sound. Great.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out. I've been doing sound checks with each.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for pointing that out, Curious. I've been doing dutiful sound checks with each stream, and it had been finally reliable for a while. And now I can stop this and stop streaming my own stream. Aha. Anyway, yes. So I had been doing sound checks with each stream, and it was finally reliable, so I didn't do a sound check, and something was up with my OBS, and it wasn't connected. The Halloween computer ghosty got me. He did. Anyway, so I have, I guess I can do the proper verbal explanation of what the heck I'm doing right now. So I have a guilty pleasure, very, very controversial, shall we say, in the sci-art community. I love the ridiculous, unrealistic Halloween skeletons, like this little rubber ducky skeleton that has a rib cage that wraps all the way around the bottom and all the way to the tip of the tail, among other quirks. Or like this, which is a pumpkin skeleton. Sorry, it doesn't even fit. Here, let me zoom out a little. Here's a pumpkin skeleton. And so obviously pumpkins don't have skeletons. I love these things, they crack me up. So I've got a little display with some of my ridiculous skeletons out front. And today, from now until when I go set up my Halloween display in like an hour or so, I'm just doodling whatever absurd skeletons people can come up with. And then, yeah, I might actually like print some merch or make some... I have a 3D printer, so like we might actually try to model some of these and turn them into actual decorations for next year in my little Halloween display. I started with mushrooms because I do a lot of fungi illustrations in general, so the idea of mushroom skeletons cracked me up, but I'm happy to do whatever other ideas people have for skeletons for things that don't usually have a skeletal system. So I also have like it's stuck in a tree, but I have a big spider skeleton. I've seen some really cool octopus ones, and I am happy to entertain any and all like goofy skeleton ideas, or take any kind of hate from other sci artists who are triggered by these skeletons, because I know that there's a lot of sci artists who really hate them, so this is just my guilty pleasure. I think they're hilarious. Also, apparently I really smeared my... Is that watercolor, or did I dirty this up with something else? Huh. Okay, so apparently I really smeared my page here. Anyway, yes, now we can have some people join the stream. Isn't that nice? Woohoo! A lot more entertaining when there's talking, isn't it? Instead of just like quiet silence and me drawing something that makes no sense. Anyway, does anyone have any great ideas? Mycophile here. Yes. Okay. So mycophile, love it. Are you in the skeletons of drawing fictional skeletons of mushrooms is hilarious camp, or is this slightly triggering you? No judgment either way. I'm just curious. Because every Halloween I see threads on the social medias of other Psy artists spotting the most ridiculous, unrealistic skeletons and complaining about them. Some people are really bothered, and maybe it's because I like because I like bones, because I like skeletons, but because my business doesn't usually involve things that have bones, they don't trigger me. I guess if I worked primarily in paleontology or something, that really unrealistic skeletons might trigger me more. It's not like, yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the field. I do follow people who work in, medical reconstructions or paleontology or whatever, and I can understand if you are coming from those fields and you're, working on figuring out how muscles attach to bones and whatever, and then you see, well, here's a skeleton of a rubber ducky, that can be, annoying rather than hilarious. I personally find it hilarious. And yes, I'm not publishing a textbook that says, this is what mushrooms look like inside. But I am always just curious, because I know that that my take is, a little bit different from some of the Psy art community. Anyway, if other people have suggestions of what crazy skeleton to draw next, I'm more than happy to oblige. I may get a somewhat bigger sketchbook going, though, because this one's kind of annoying to sketch on this teeny tiny little thing. A couple of general questions? Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to answer general questions. General questions about what? I guess it depends on the general questions. I guess I'll find out in a moment. Ever so curious. Moth or butterfly. Ooh. Yeah, I will absolutely do a moth or butterfly. That does sound fun. That sounds very fun, actually. And like the sort of thing that one could do I could do like a window cling of it for next year. Like if I paint it now, could be a usable like window cling type of decoration. I just got here, so you missed the skeleton question. It's okay. I missed a good 40 minutes of sound where I had people dropping in and out, and I hadn't checked my sound settings, and my sound was offline. So, we all have our struggles. Yeah, okay, so this is my guilty pleasure. It's a little bit controversial in the Sci art community, but I really love absurd Halloween skeletons. They crack me up and amuse me to no end. So like this pumpkin skeleton decoration that I've got, or this really absurd rubber ducky where the ribcage wraps around to the bottom and extends all the way to the tip of the tail. I also have outside, a crow skeleton that has like bones all the way to the wingtips, and a dog that has ears. Obviously, I know this is not what actual skeletons are built like. In the Sci art community, there are people who mostly, I guess, probably work in like skeletal reconstruction and are very triggered by these things, but I find them hilarious, possibly because I work in botanical art. I enjoy skeletons, but I don't do a whole lot of work that's directly related to anything that actually has a skeleton. So I find the Halloween skeletons made of ridiculous things that, don't usually have a skeleton at all. I find them hilarious and great fun. And so today I am sketching the most ridiculous skeletons I can think of. So I started out silently painting some mushroom skeletons because, Fungi Friday. I'm painting mushrooms because that's what I do a lot. But I am very happy to take other suggestions. Just got a great suggestion of a moth, so I will do that probably next. I'm gonna get a different sketchbook though. This one's kind of small and annoying, so I'm gonna just move that up there, and I'll get started with a new one. Okay, so here we have just a plain sketchbook to work in, and I'll get started here. Just tip that over a little here. Let's go this way. And I can actually put this in so people can see this as I'm sketching, I guess, probably. There we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Woohoo, lots of room. Okay, next up, what was I doing? Some kind of butterfly or moth. Do you have a favorite kind of butterfly or moth? Sorry, the hue angle of Perylene green. It's hard to judge with the dull and dark quality of it. Maybe around phthalo green blue shade. It's quite a bit warmer, quite a bit more yellow than phthalo green blue shade. It is more of like it's really actually quite yellow. You can, one of the ways that you can sort of judge that is by how it mixes with its neighboring colors and complements. Like you can see that it neutralizes with actually fairly blue-red. It is PG-17 very dilute. It is, yes, less yellow than that. Okay. Yeah, I'll believe that. I mean, I think it also depends somewhat on which PG-17, because there's a few different shades, and so that it actually, PG-17 actually runs the gamut a little, where some of them are quite blue and some of them are quite yellow. And likewise, Perylene green, there is a bit of a range there. But yeah, it is a little bit more yellow, certainly, than a phthalo green. What about a skeleton pumpkin? Well, I mean, I do have a skeleton pumpkin right here. So I could do that for sure, but I think I'd rather do something a little bit different since I actually already have like a physical example of this. Okay, Sphinx moth or Luna moth. Let's look at Sphinx moth. Right. Let's pull up some references. Nope. And pull up this guy. There we go. Sphinx moth. All right. Oh, those are kind of cool. Or Luna moth. Let's see. Luna moth. Oh, I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to do a Luna moth. Just because they've got like a really cool shape to their wings. All right. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start with, again, a colored pencil to just lay out. Where did I put my various colored pencils? Here we go. A sharpener within easy reach. What have I done to all my sharpeners? That's fine, not important, doesn't need to be sharp. Okay, so we're gonna do the body of this Luna moth. Let's see. Why am I doing this so high? I'm gonna do this over here. We're gonna do, so the Luna moth has like quite a bit of wingspan like this. It's got quite a fat little body, which is kind of neat, because I can put a rib cage in the fat little body. Spider. Yes, we have a spider out front, actually. So I can absolutely do that. I'll do it a little different, probably, than the spider we have. Now I'm doing a Luna moth first from Curious gave me a great suggestion. I like that these points on the Luna moth, they actually almost look like that almost looks like it can be the edge of a bone, right? Like, so I can just do like, oh, here we go. We're just gonna put in a little bone tip here. And we're gonna throw a joint in there. Yeah, let's throw a little joint in there. And have like a... Yeah, I can, here, throw some stuff up at the top to clarify what the hell's going on in this crazy stream. So I'm gonna give it little articulated antenna. And then because the antenna are furry, I'm gonna give it little additional bone protrusions here. Oh, I'm having such fun with this. Yeah, this is a great suggestion. Love it. Giving it a little articulation here, and then just a random bone that ends right at the tail here. So as somebody else suggested, you can, one of the ways you can test this is by the complement mixing. So you have mixed PG7 with PR something 255 or something that you have that neutralizes perfectly. When you mix that same red with with different greens, you'll get things that are either a little bit purple of black or a little bit like brown of black, basically. And so depending which direction, like whether it's too warm or too cold, you can know whether this has more yellow or less yellow in it. So even though it's already a really neutralized color, that'll still tell you like where it is relative to other greens. That makes sense. PG7 and PR254 make a dead neutral. PG7 and PO71 make a nice army green. Right, okay, so PG7 and 254. So if you mix PG17, or not PG17, sorry, not PG17, PBK31. If you mix your Paraline green with PR254, my suspicion is that you will find that you can never get quite a perfect black, because it'll always be like just a little bit brown once you get close to that. Like your darkest tone will always be a little bit brown, not like dead black, because it's just a little bit warmer than PG7. PG17 is a little bit tricky to mix a black with because you're only ever going to get a gray. But it needs more of a magenta tone to neutralize it. Now you're still only going to get like a neutral gray, so it's a little bit tougher because you're not going to get like a pure black. But you can mix, if you have a sap green or a PG36, that's PG36 is phthalo green yellow shade, right? You could try that. My suspicion there would be that you would find it. Okay, so I'm giving this. Sorry, just trying to. I am giving this a rib cage. Okay, so if you have a PG36, I'd start with that. So you take a PG36, you find what neutralizes that best. It'll be something that's a little bit more purpley. And then you compare how that neutralizes with a PBK31 with your Paraline green. I suspect that you will find that the Paraline green is not quite as yellow as the PG36, although it might be close. But that if you try mixing that again, you'll end up with... if you mix with that complement, then you'll end up with, like, you can never get a total black because it's always just a little purpley. Or welcome back. I'm sorry. I didn't realize when you first joined that everything was silent. So I was showing stuff off, but completely silent. Now I've got sound. Hooray! I'm painting unrealistic skeletons. Very happy to take suggestions for other unrealistic skeletons. Right now I'm doing a Luna moth, which is a great suggestion from Curious. These are a lovely little guilty pleasure of mine. Let's see, let's give this Luna moth some scapula. Over here. So that's shoulder blades. So this Luna moth gets shoulder blades over here. So it's going to have fixed ribs here that connect down a rib cage. And then on the second part of the body, it's going to have floating ribs. Oh, I guess I can give it a... Ooh, I can give it a pelvic bone too. Ha 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 ha. That's hilarious. It's got a pelvic bone and a tail. Then it's gonna get extra little, I know, bony protuberances up in here. Very unrealistic. And then here. Here it's gonna get, if that's a shoulder, then it's gonna get a joint right at the wing peak here. with a little, let's give it a little here it can have fingers, and then it can have other bony bits coming out here. So we can have some stretched membrane of wings around here. I know it's a moth, but I can't help but think it's a tall robot with fancy clothes. I mean, that is also a great interpretation. I like the tall robot with fancy clothes idea. Just like a robot's Halloween costume. Like, I'm totally not a robot. Totally just in a moth costume. Yep. Totally just a moth. Just another moth. Let's see. Do I have aha? Yeah, no, not what I want to use. Okay, so there's my Luna moth. Now, let's see, we wanted spider as well. What other suggestions did I have? All right, let's see, spider. No, not Luna spider. Spider. Eyes. Because I think that drawing a skull for a spider with its crazy eyes would be hilarious. Hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, how many eyes do these things have? Spider vision. Let's read about spider vision. The eyes of spiders vary significantly in their type, structure, arrangement, and function. They usually have 8, each being a simple eye. Okay, so usually they have 8 eyes. Let me just figure out what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use a mahogany red this time. Okay, so if spiders have 8 eyes, they usually have 4 up top, big eyes, right, and then okay, wait, why am I putting that over there? I'm going to move that over here. Okay, I'm going to put big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, need big eye sockets, and we need eye sockets that wrap around this way. We're going to need one more eyes there, and then they also have eyes up here, so we're going to need more eye sockets. Yep, that sure is going to be interesting. We're going to give it a little bit of a brow ridge around each eye just to really give it a proper orbital. We're going to give a little skull nose there. Maybe we'll bring this one a little closer. Yeah, okay. And then that's going to be there. I'm going to give this spider a bit of a jaw, but I'm going to have it be attached here. So we're going to give it a nose, because of course it's going to have a nose. We'll shade that in. It has little pincers here, but I'm going to give the pincers teeth. So it's going to have articulated teeth pincers. Because it's a skull, see? And then it's going to have whatever. I'm going to give it more teeth. Just because, you know, we're drawing silly things. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I am now trying out this spoder. And we're gonna give this some extra shading across the back. now we're going to look at the rest of the spider. I may have put the face in a sort of silly location for where I'm going to put the rest of the spider, but we're just going to keep working with this. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put the rest of the spider over sort of here. So this one's gonna have some joints kind of like a human. See, it has elbows. Okay, with apologies, I need to run to the washroom. I will be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Let's see. Sorry, I need to give this a little bit more shape. That's wrong. Okay, so that needs to go here, and this needs to go there. guy over here so that we can still have that on screen. In a moment, I'm gonna take this away. Move this back on here. So, is anyone doing anything fun for Halloween or this weekend? Like you dressing up, or if you have kids, do they have like really cute kids costumes? So I'm gonna assume that this little spider here has bone articulations for pincers. Let's see. Okay, so then this one's also gonna have some articulations here. Bigger one there. That can go. Going to listen to the baseball. Oh, we finally have some. Our house was really quiet here for a long while, but a bunch of our neighbors have teeny tiny children who are just getting to the age where they are gonna have Halloween fun. So we've got a bunch of Halloween treats. I went a little silly on the Halloween treats this year, because I was interested in, okay, well, what would I do to buy Canadian? So yeah. I wanted to get, a bulk pack of Hawkins cheesies, but everyone had the same notion. Oh, apparently that's a fun fact. Hawkins cheesies has seen a 10% month-over-month increase in their sales volume since February. So like every month their business increases by 10%. So they're still in the manufacturing plant that they've had since 1950, since they opened. But it's getting a little crazy there. So anyway, everyone had the same thought as me with Hawkins cheesies, so I couldn't get Hawkins cheesies, dang. I then looked at other options. Stephen, you'll remember, or actually, I don't know, when did you move here? Did you ever trick or treat in Canada? Like, I know you were born in the UK. Anyway, there's something called Halloween Kisses, which were the bane of every child's existence for forever. They're made by Cars, which is another Canadian candy company, and apparently they are purely a Canadian phenomenon, so of course I got some to torture the children of today. Okay, well, you remember Halloween Kisses? They're like a toffee thing. I can actually bring one up. One moment. So in my search for Canadian candy, I got Brookside chocolates, which unfortunately are now owned by Hershey, which I found out after I bought them, but they're a Canadian company and they're made in Canada, even though they got bought out by Hershey, whatever, it's fine. And then there's also Canadian, so little gummies, but these cracked me up. I didn't realize that these things are purely a Canadian phenomenon. They don't exist anywhere else in the world. I actually kind of like them as long as you get the good ones, but they are made with molasses and they were, shall we say, very unpopular with children trick-or-treating when I was a little kid, and now they're actually kind of difficult to find because they're like a specialty item for those of us who actually did enjoy them, but they're like a caramel sort of thing, but they're made with molasses. I quite like them. Now, the one thing that I found out while researching this is this whole thing as a concept, the molasses Halloween Kisses, it's all Canadian. Curse is the original company that made them. But you can also get something called Original Halloween Kisses, which is made by one of the other Canadian candy makers. And those ones are much harder and much more like pulling. Now, if what you object to is the taste of the molasses, then whatever. Anyway, I figured I had to get that bit of Canadiana. I'll eat most of them, but I'll make sure that every kid goes away with one. We do also have other things, like potato chips, and chocolates, and gummies, and fizzy lollipops, and whatever. So, they'll still get other good stuff. I'm not here just to torment the kids. Right, okay, let's see. time is it? Da-da-da. Yes, so the inexpensive Canadian chips that I got in this case are the Giant Tiger brand. Giant Value? Sorry, it's not Great Value because Great Value is Walmart. Giant Value is the Giant Tiger home brand. So those are the Canadian chips I ended up going for. I wanted to get Hawkins Cheesies, but alas, the rest of Canada beat me to that. I did get some Kerr's chocolates, also some Regal caramels, which are a Canadian company, but these, as it turns out, are actually made in Brazil, so that's fun. Some Kerr's, these are soda lollipops, so they are fizzy, fun. And some chips and chocolates, and yeah. Whoppers? Okay, maybe Whoppers are a different thing in the US than they are here. Because there's a few things like that where, like, what you call Smarties, we call Rockets. What we call Smarties are candy-covered chocolates. Whoppers here are they're a crunchy sponge toffee, like malt ball thing covered in chocolate. I think most people actually like them. Oh, okay. We are talking about the same thing. Well, Whoppers are the same thing here. I don't know that they were ever particularly common at Halloween, so they weren't a thing people were necessarily trying to offload. I always quite enjoyed malt balls, but Whoppers. But also, I mean, I'm a weird child who did also enjoy the unpopular candies, so, you know, make of that what you will. Okay, this spider skeleton is quite a bit sloppier than the other one, and I think I do actually need to go set up for children soon. So the kids next door are like, they're young, so they'll probably be by in like a half hour. I should go turn on some lights and right, Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls are very, very close to these, except Tootsie Rolls have a, they have a chocolate flavor as well, sort of. Hardly call it chocolate. But the texture of these things is very much like Tootsie Rolls, only, like, it's a blockier thing. Like, the Tootsie Rolls tend to be a little bit thinner. This is a blockier thing, and it is, just molasses flavored. And so actually, it's a little bit more popular among adults than it is with kids, because the molasses is, has flavor, other than just sugar. They're a very short list. Apparently these days, like, they produce them, and it's like they sell out every year, but it's mostly adults who buy them for themselves. And They don't show up in treats bags as much as they used to, because they used to be like super cheap compared to other candies. And these days it's like, yeah, they're not actually that cheap compared to like the super cheap candy that is everywhere now. So like actually like the gummies are gonna be more popular, the chocolates are gonna be more popular. Since there's little kids coming to our house, we also have juice boxes and like squeezy applesauce. Because they're like little, barely eating food children. No, wait. I've got that all backwards. Anyway, this is kind of, this spider here is kind of messy. We don't, okay, so I grew up in a neighborhood where we had like 200, 400 kids come by. So my parents would give out like one thing for each kid. You know, like here's a lollipop. And then we lived in apartments for a long while where nobody came by. So when we bought this house, we were really excited to decorate for Halloween and stuff. When we first moved here, there were like no children on this street, so we'd get like 5, 10 kids come by. Now there's a little bit more because there's some kids just down the street and around the corner. And so we will get like on a nice night, if it's like really bright and warm and sunny, we'll get like 15 kids. On like a really nice night, we'll get like 30. On an average Halloween, we'll get like 15 to 20. So it is easy to spoil kids when it's on that scale, right? You just get a few packages of something, like you're still spending less than $100 on candy. Honestly, you end up eating a bunch of it anyway. So yes, we are spoiling the kiddos a little, but that's easier to do because we don't have that many. So we just give them handfuls of things. Anyway, yeah, Halloween's one of my favorite holidays, so I wish there were more kids who came by. But it tends to be pretty quiet. But yeah, we put out... I have figured out that as much as I would like to carve a pumpkin every year, I don't actually enjoy pumpkin carving. I spent many years of my life trying to convince myself that I enjoyed pumpkin carving, and I don't. So I have a collection of like plastic and ceramic and whatever, like jack-o'-lantern type things, including this guy. This pumpkin actually is a lantern that lights up. So that's part of why I need to... Where'd it go? Well, that's exciting. It's a lantern that lights up, but the light is the little... Apparently the little... Oh, wow, that's some high quality stuff. See this little switch here? Fully hidden here that's not accessible? Let's see, can I use a... Oh, and now it doesn't want to turn on at all. Oh, that's really great. Fantastic. Okay, well this was supposed to be a lantern that lights up, but it isn't. It doesn't light up, so fun. Love it. Anyway, I have a bunch of things that light up. I can put a LED candle thing in here. And yeah, I go for the reusable decorations that I don't have to carve. And then I do have pumpkins because I grow pumpkins, but like just pumpkins shaped Maxima squashes that we eat through the year. So I've got some of those uncarved as well. And then I just put out a bunch of lights and my little silly skeletons display. And we hand out candy to the silly little children. So anyway, I should go light up the front of my house and get ready to hand out some candies. Anyway, this was fun. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all later. Next week. Next week? Yeah, next week.